Here's the question. Hey, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? If you are like most people, you are probably a little bit stressed by that question. And if not you, then probably your parents are a little bit stressed by that question. But probably most of you are actually just plain tired of that question. So I've got good news. We're not going to talk about that question. Ha! And now you're thinking, then why did you ask it? Touché. I believe that that people's beliefs about careers really influence kind of how people show up in school. It influences student leaders. It influences the school climate. It influences people's choices, what they don't do and what they do. Gosh, this is going great so far. So I'll talk a little bit about careers today, and I'll share a few things that I think are getting in the way of people living more fulfilling lives and having more fulfilling careers. But mostly I want to talk about how you can make the most of right now, your experience right now, even in these wild times. So let me start with sort of a big idea, but it's simple. I think most people are looking for two things in life. They are looking for things that are meaningful, and they're looking for things that are fun. I know I just blew some people's minds. I'm writing on the air. When we do things that are only meaningful, then even though we're kind of working on important stuff, life feels kind of heavy and overwhelming. On the other hand, if we do things that are only fun, then life feels kind of frivolous and empty. Like we're not really spending our time doing what matters. But there is this magic area in the middle. Things that are both fun and meaningful, or as I call it, fiendingful. Just kidding. I don't call it fiendingful. I think that sounds ridiculous. Although I did invent another word recently, plagiarism. I made it up all by myself. What I think that word really is fulfilling. You can remember the word fiendingful if you want, but that's what I want to suggest to you as a target for your life, not just out of school, but right now in school. And maybe as a quick exercise for you, you could grab a little, I don't know, writing stick, a pen and a scrap of paper or a spare envelope or piece of air, and jot down a few things. Like, what is it for you that feels both fun and meaningful? And just, jot down a few ideas. For me, maybe juggling, spending time with my family, my kids. For you, maybe it's making music or going out on adventures with your friends or learning new languages or whatever it is. Too often we just don't do those things. But when we do those things, when we do those things, we're naturally motivated. Nobody needs to give us an A+. We're more creative when we work from that little magic spot. We're more collaborative. We're more open-minded. We're more resilient. Now, this stuff that you write down doesn't have to become part of your career, but it might. Who knows? Either way, I think we should all do more of that stuff, because I think the world needs more people who are doing important stuff and having fun doing it. When I think of what I want for my kids, actually, maybe I can show you a quick picture here of my kids. Here it is, right here. Here's my family. I've got a son who's almost 6 and a twin 3-year-olds. See, it's hard to get everybody right in there, but there we go. Look at that. Oh, aren't they cute? That's so nice. You can tell these pictures obviously pre-COVID because everybody is smiling. Here's a more recent one. It's me right now. There it is. Huh. Okay, there we go. When we do those those things that are both fun and meaningful, we're naturally motivated. And what I want for my kids, and why I share pictures, is because what I want for my kids is the same as what I would want for all of you. I want more people in the world to be creating fulfilling careers and lives, to be making changes that matter to them. Now, why don't we do this stuff? Well, you know, one thing to realize, I guess, is, okay, part of it is the pandemic, but I think a lot of people don't do the stuff that feels most fulfilling to them because they're feeling pressured to be doing something else. They're feeling pressured to be following some other path, like, or spending time figuring out what to do with our lives, which is, you know, okay, meaningful, it's important, but unless your parents are a lot more laid back than mine, it's not always fun. So one thing I really want to try to convince you of is to say, you do not have to have things all figured out by the time you graduate. That's a myth that's out there. That's way too much pressure. I'll tell you, I had it all figured out. I mean, I knew. See, I was good at math as a kid. I was one of the lucky ones. That, and I like to play with Lego. And my dad was an engineer. So naturally, everybody said, Joel, you are going to become a dairy farmer. Just kidding. An engineer. That's exactly, can you imagine some guidance counselor or something? You know, with your skills, a shepherd you shall be. No, I always assumed that that I would just like study engineering, get an engineering job, do engineering work, and live the dream. And I did it right up until the live the dream part, actually. You know, after 5 years of engineering, I got a job, a good job, doing computery database things, and I realized really quickly that I was surrounded by a bunch of people who were living for the evenings and weekends, spending 8, 10, 12 hours a day doing something that they cared absolutely nothing about, waiting for it to end so they could go home and watch TV. Now, maybe I was just projecting because by 3 weeks, that's exactly how I was feeling. And I only lasted 4 weeks in the corporate world. And that's not even really true because I was on vacation for one of the weeks. But that was 15 years ago, and I've been self-employed ever since. You know, it certainly wouldn't be the right path for everyone, but for me, it's been meaningful. Now I get to use my engineering problem-solving mindset to help people have more fun, because I actually think that is the best way to make change, to make big change in this world. If we can help people have more fun doing it, then everyone wants to make progress. But instead of, you know, calculators and, I don't know, rolling rulers or something, the tools of my trade have changed a little bit. I now use, you know, juggling balls and mouse traps, actually. I love to play with mouse traps. So I'll show you. You can, oops. I got another one over here. Hang on. I love to play with mouse traps. And if this were, I mean, if we were live, I would bring a whole bunch of mouse traps and we could all play together. But obviously, we're online. So the next best thing, maybe, I can show you a video of a time when I went to a teachers convention in Edmonton, Alberta. I brought a few hundred mouse traps and called up an unsuspecting volunteer. Well, you can watch what happens. There we go. Be honest, is anybody a little nervous of mouse traps? Of the people who are a little nervous, I could use a volunteer. Come on up, Courtney. Come on up, come on up. Have you ever played with mouse traps? Courtney, you and I are going to play a very fun game. You're going to love this game. You're going to love this game. This game is called Courtney Puts Her Hand on a Loaded Mouse Trap. A mousetrap is a risky situation, no doubt about that, but just because there's a risk doesn't mean we need to avoid it. Courtney, if you choose, you can put your hand flat out over the trap, cover the whole thing like this, and it will not snap on you because you'll be holding it open. Would you be willing to give it a try?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping to hear. Courtney will hold her hand on the mousetrap and bask in the glory of conquering the mousetrap. Courtney, are you right or left-handed? Left-handed. Left-handed. You use that one to write with?
Yes.
You might want to use your right hand for this one. I've done this literally hundreds of times. No one has ever. Oh, actually, I almost forgot. Safety glasses. See. I was doing this once with a group of my engineering students. Somebody yelled out, "Don't do it, it's a trap!" Feeling the audience's positive, silent vibes. You're going a little slowly for me there, Courtney. It's gonna feel deliberate. You want it to be like that and straight down. That's 1, great.
2, 3.
Yes, applause, applause! Courtney! Hold your hand there, Courtney, hold your hand there.
Oh God.
Courtney, you have your hand on a loaded mousetrap. How do you feel?
A little bit stressed.
A little bit stressed. You're actually in total control right now, at least until you take your hand off the mousetrap, at which point it is gonna snap. Keep your hand right there. Enjoy the rest of the presentation. Courtney, when you lift up your hand, it is gonna snap, I'll be honest with you, but it's not gonna snap on you. You got this, straight up. Yes, give her a round of applause. Courtney! Look, if I take a trap like this, and I load it up, and I put my hand on it, just like this. It does trigger it, but there's nowhere for that trap to swing. I tell people I like playing with mouse traps. What I really like doing is encouraging people to take risks. Because when we take a risk, when we take a chance, that's when we learn, that's when we grow. If you think about your most meaningful, memorable experiences in life, my guess is they didn't happen while you were texting or sitting on the couch. Tackle the thing that feels just a little bit scary. We always need to be challenging ourselves. Wasn't she awesome? Man, I love this stuff. You know, I read an article recently about the top regrets of people on their deathbeds. It was written by a palliative care nurse. And you know what the #1 deathbed regret was? I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself and not the life others expected of me. I don't know if that resonates for you. It certainly resonated for me. But it's hard, right? Because there's a lot of pressure. So I have 2 ideas for you that I hope will help you maybe fight some of that pressure and find a way that feels fulfilling. Idea #1 is to ditch the hierarchy. What do I mean by this? I think that when most people think of post-secondary options in life, they imagine a hierarchy. It looks a little bit like this. Now, people use different language, different words in different regions, but it's basically the same system. At the top is university, and people think if you can't get a degree, then maybe you should go to college and get a more job-focused diploma in something. And if school isn't for you, if you can't cut it there, then maybe you should consider, on-the-job training, apprenticeship, something like that, or go straight into the workplace. And it's basically a better than system. And I don't have anything against university, but I think that this idea is one of the most damaging ideas out there because it pushes people away from their natural talents and interests and towards some, idealized illusion of what life could be if only they were better in some way. This is not a hierarchy. It is a spectrum of possibilities. And there are so many options. I have a friend back in high school, a teacher asked, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? And he had no idea, of course. He said, well, I don't know. I like teaching karate. Maybe I'll open my own karate studio one day. And the teacher, well-intentioned, but kind of misguided, said, what? And waste your intelligence? You're so much smarter than that. Excuse me? I mean, do we not want smart people teaching our kids, self-confidence and discipline, Do we not want smart people fighting fires and fighting crime and building our buildings and fixing our cars? We need smart people in every pathway, in every career. And as student leaders, my hope is that you can kind of join me in being an advocate for all pathways, for all students, for all types of careers, and break down this hierarchy. We have to get away from this idea. Okay, point number 2. It's the hierarchy. Point number 2, try stuff. Try stuff, a lot of things. Try as much as you can, because I think that we don't really know what we like until we try it. Of course, academics are important, and that's why you have to take a lot of classes that may not seem relevant right now, but non-academics are just as important. As a kid, I thought it would be cool to get into juggling. It turns out that being into juggling is decidedly not cool. Although it's pretty awesome, that juggling challenge during Global Student Leadership Day. That is amazing. I hope a lot of people at least try juggling, and maybe we can all make juggling a little cooler, because it could use it. Thankfully, I didn't pay too much attention to being cool, as you can tell, and I just kept having fun. Actually, I'm still learning. Juggling 5 clubs is my current goal. Here, I can try to share this little thing. It's super hard juggling 5 clubs. Occasionally, it's pretty. This is 9 throws of 5 clubs right here, and it's beautiful when it happens. And that happened like once. And usually, it's super messy. And I think I wouldn't recommend trying this. By the way, it's literally hundreds of hours for about 7 seconds of entertainment. Most people, frankly, have better things to do with their time. But I love it, and I think juggling is an amazing thing. You can see the moment I almost got smacked in the face right there, by the way. I think juggling is an amazing metaphor for so many things in life, because we try a bunch of stuff and it doesn't work out the first time, but we still feel like we're making progress in some way, and it feels good when we find that right flow, when we find how it fits. Back in university, I got involved doing coffee house juggling performances. I had a little act, and I'd go around and I'd juggle weird stuff, helping people with their fundraisers. I juggled toilet plungers and rubber chickens. I liked making people laugh, but I also liked showing that it was okay to be unique. It was really good to be unique and do things a little differently. And I had no idea, but it turns out that those juggling and performance skills would help open the door to a career in speaking and teaching. So who knows, maybe your weird, odd, wacky talents and hobbies will also become relevant for you. Okay, most people don't have a lot of professional use for like a mouse trap or a clown nose or a bag of clown noses. But whatever your hobbies, I meet a lot of people and say, how'd you get into your career? How'd you start doing what you do? And so many of them say, I kind of stumbled into it, but the door was often opened because of some unique combination of skills and experiences that they had. So try lots of stuff, do what seems fun and exciting, because you'll build your skills. Rebuild an old car, turn your garage into a movie theater if you want, or your basement into a home studio like I did. Who knows where you'll end up? Maybe in your basement, like me. Or as my kids call it, the hole. Anyways, maybe I can start to bring this to a close, my little part of this amazing event, with some danger. Yeah, here is one more video that kind of combines a few of my interests. It's a skill that I never thought would be useful. Go ahead and roll it.
Juggling loaded rat traps. You feel powerful right now, Barry? Sort of. Anybody owe you money right now, Barry? Yeah. Barry didn't know why he was coming up here. He took a big risk in volunteering to do so, and I think some people will look at what he did and say, well, all he really did was hold 2 sticks. I could have done that. That's true. You probably could have. But not everyone was willing to take the risk to try. Barry was willing to take that risk. And for that, I think he deserves huge honor. So thank you, Barry. Have a seat again. Have a seat again. Some of you are going to go home and say, so this guy named Joel told us we should juggle loaded rat traps. No, I started juggling when I was 8 years old. Then it was rings, clubs, a unicycle. I didn't juggle a unicycle, you know what I mean. And then at some point, juggling loaded rat traps seemed like the next choice for me. But it's probably not the next choice for most of you. Right? Being able to do this doesn't make me a better person. It's not who I am. Not being able to do it doesn't make anybody a worse person. We need to stop comparing ourselves to each other and start celebrating all the diversity that exists within this world. I'll ask for a moment of silence for my own concentration. There we go. One little trick, I call it too close for comfort. Here it is right here. Applaud now, applaud now, applaud now. Yes, yes, yes. And juggling loaded rat traps.
What'd you think, huh? I'd give it a 9 out of 10. Just kidding. Hey, let's bring this thing to a close. Beanstalk, my organization, we do career skills workshops in schools and virtually, and we have a free gift for everyone. We know this has been a super weird year, and we want to give everybody watching this 3 free online courses. If you go to thebeanstalkproject.org/GSLD, we have a special gift for you there. Teachers, you put in your email address. We will send, tell us how many student accesses, virtual seats you need, and we will send you accesses to 3 awesome dynamic online courses: personality inventory, stress management techniques, and making professional connections. These will help you, yes, in your future career, but also make the most of right now. And it's totally free. Just register by Friday so we can get those to you. Free access, usually it would be $90. Totally free until the end of June. We want to help out everybody who wants to take the next step for them. So you can go to this website, thebeanstalkproject.org/GSLD. Gosh, it's been such a privilege to be here with everyone. Maybe my last thought is, I know it's been a weird year, but try not to get too hung up. Try not to focus too much on all the things that you're missing. I know it's easy to say, all the things that you don't do or that you can't do. Instead, my suggestion is to find what is fun and meaningful for you. Put all your energy there. See how you can focus on what matters to you and get the most out of doing all the things that you do. Again, I just ended on do. God. Okay, that's it.